Good day, everybody, and welcome to the second episode of Access Granted, the podcast of ZKTeco South Africa. Today, I have the great pleasure to have Pasco of Security and Communication Warehouse with us today to share some of his insights on the market and also, obviously, our different means of doing business in the distribution area. Obviously, us as manufacturers and the distributors work quite close together. But I must say, in the past few years, I've actually learned quite a lot from you. One of my mentors in this area. I know how to get money into the bank, but how to navigate the market is something else. And I think that is where you're. But welcome to see you here.
Good, Hendrik. Thank you very much. And it's a pleasure to be here. Thank you for being invited to the podcast. And I think this is a very good and fruitful thing. And I think ZKTeco will stand to benefit in the future.
Thank you. Hopefully the same with you guys as well.
Yes.
So, yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah, let's jump into it. Pasco, where do you come from? Where were you born? That type of thing, background of yours?
Okay, so my parents came from Sicily in Italy. They came to South Africa and found opportunity in a town called Klerksdorp, which was
Klerksdorp.
Yes.
From Italy to Klerksdorp.
To Klerksdorp, yes, that was quite something. There weren't too many Italian families there, as you can imagine. I grew up there, went to a school called St. Conrad's, private school. They only had 400 students from grade 0 to matric. So our class was about 25 students in total, so very, very close-knit community, close-knit school. It was a good school. I really did enjoy that. And once I finished studying, I decided to do engineering, where I went to Wits University. And there I completed my engineering in civil engineering.
Civil engineering, okay.
So it's an interesting story as to how I landed up here, but that's on its way.
That's on its way, yes.
Completed that, and then I started working for a company called Uricon, which was then not called Uricon, it was then called Van Wyk and Low.
Okay.
And which then converted to a company called Africon, which then became Uricon. So Uricon is a big consulting engineering company, and they focus primarily on the design and implementation of large engineering projects.
Okay.
I worked there as an engineer, and basically I specialized in structures and did basically a master's or an MSc in structural engineering.
All right, that is a curveball.
Yes, interesting. So the projects that I worked on when I was at Uricon was the Waterfallboven tunnel. Yes. The rehabilitation of that tunnel.
Okay.
And the stabilization of the materials and the earths around that, as well as the restructuring of the concrete works of the tunnel itself.
Yeah.
The other interesting project was the department of the UIF, Unemployment Insurance Fund building, which sits in the centre of Pretoria.
Yes.
It was one of the projects that I did, and the renovations to the Reserve Bank in the centre of Pretoria. So there I had a mentor, a guy called Dr. Gert Opperman, who guided me and was my mentor in the structural engineering space. So once I completed that, I moved to a company in Johannesburg called WAH, and they looked at their specialization was doing steel and concrete shafts for the mines. So I landed up doing structural engineering work for, in this case it was steel work, not concrete work, but it was the shafts for the mines. And I did that for about 2 or 3 years. So basically I completed my PReng, became a professional engineer, I had about 7 or 8 years of experience in engineering. And then I decided it was time for me to go and do my own thing. Yes. And try and go into business.
Why would you make that decision? That is part of this podcast for the younger generation to learn from us. Why would you get out of your comfort zone to do something like that?
So that's a very interesting question.
Yes.
So at the time, obviously I was already well entrenched. I was had become a senior engineer.
This was in the 80s?
So I graduated in 1990.
Okay.
And then I went to Europe for a year, about 18 months, where I traveled and backpacked and just
just enjoy life.
Just enjoyed life, yes.
And wine.
100% and wine.
Yes.
And so that taught me a lot of life skills, but
Of
it
course.
also fed you freedom
Yes.
and ability to navigate your way around things and become independent. And with that, and the fact that my parents had also had a business,
Yes.
drove the fact that I now was in a corporate environment, and there's lots of politics in the corporate environment, and the freedom and the ability to be able to implement ideas that you have are restricted.
Yes, very much.
And so moving on, I decided I needed to be on my own. I had lots of energy.
Yes.
And I had ideas and aspirations. And I decided I'm now going to start my own consulting company.
Okay.
So hence the fact that I travel and I had the sense of freedom and the ability to do it and the background of my parents.
Yes.
It was a combination of items. And you said, look, I can't be in an office. I need to go out and do something with my life.
Yeah.
So I resigned.
Yes.
And started a consulting company. But it's not as easy as it sounds.
That's also in the civil engineering space.
In the civil engineering space, yes. And it's not as easy as it sounds because people need credibility.
Yes.
They entrust you with very large projects. And even though you've got the credentials and you have the PRNs, you don't necessarily have the trust that the client's going to give you, because they're going to entrust you with very large projects.
Definitely.
It takes time. So I set up the business and was battling to get business. So I said, okay, well, I've got to try a second business to feed the first business.
Okay.
And then I had a friend. He was an installer, and he wanted to get out of the installation industry. And he said, look, why don't we just start importing products and we can sell to the installers. This was now in 1997.
97, okay.
97, yeah. And so then him and I went on a venture. I went off to America, found a product, alarm system at the time, and brought it in. And then I had a little unit here, not far away, in Helms Park, where the bottom area was security distribution, and the upstairs office was by
the civil
engineering consultant.
Okay, awesome.
Yeah, so that's the start of what happened. So at the time, security started to boom. There was obviously a change in the regime.
That's correct.
Government changed, and
people get scared.
People get scared, and security became a talking point.
Yes.
And crime increased, and as a result, security and the demand for security increased. So that's where I started to bring in alarms.
Okay.
And I employed 2 people. So my partner at the time, he was an installer, but he wasn't involved in the business. He was just a silent partner.
Yes.
And he said, as soon as it gets big enough, he will then join. But I employed 2 people. There was a guy and a girl, and they were probably working about 4 hours a day.
Okay.
Not doing much.
Yes. Looking after the boxes.
Looking after the boxes. And they landed up making more money than I as a civil engineer.
Okay.
So I said, no, this can't be.
This looks good.
Yeah, this can't be. So I closed the engineering. I said, I'm going to take the opportunity and see what I can do with security distribution. And that's how the whole...
Can you remember what that first panel was that you brought in from US?
NAPCO.
NAPCO. Okay.
Yeah.
And they still actually, and they were brought over the other day, I think.
Yeah, so NAPCO came in. So NAPCO was one of the main products that was distributed by then a company called Bexforce.
Oh yes, Bexforce, I can remember. Yeah,
so
it was a security
that's right.
mix.
That's right. They were then Bexforce was eventually bought over and became ADT, which eventually became now Fidelity. So at the time, they standardized their products on NAPCO. When ADT took over Bexforce, it was an American company. ADT,
that's correct.
Tyker's NAPCO was an American product, so it was a great opportunity to filter these products through, because they were American products to an American company, in essence, at the time. So that boosted the business.
Of course, yes.
Because we happened to have the NAPCO product. And that obviously then established myself.
But that wasn't by design. That was luck.
That was opportunity.
So sometimes you need opportunity.
Yes,
and luck.
of course. Okay. Yeah. So the stars need to align.
Of course, yeah.
Correct. So
were you already then calling yourself Security Warehouse, or were you?
Yes. So in actual fact, there's an interesting story. There's a company called Security Warehouse, which was owned by a company called C Group. C Group
Okay.
was, they used to do the FBI panels, but we couldn't call it Security Warehouse because that name was already taken. So we changed to Security and Communication
Warehouse. Okay.
Warehouse.
Okay.
And hence the company Security Warehouse subsequently folded and closed and doesn't exist anymore.
Yes.
And so we've just adopted the name Security Warehouse because Security and Communication Warehouse was a bit longer.
That's correct, yes.
Yeah. So so that's how the story of Security and Communication came from. Yeah.
What would you say, if you look back, what would you say is your milestones when you started? You had that breakthrough with the panels. What would you say is your other milestones with adopting other products as the technology obviously came on board?
So the alarm industry, the NAPCO panel in particular, was a shared agency at the time.
Okay.
And although it was, it's very common practice now to have shared agencies where the principal offers multiple. At the time, there was exclusive agencies primarily. So we said, well, since we don't have the NAPCO agents exclusively, we need to do something.
Mm-hmm.
What we looked at were the different avenues. And at the time, there was the different verticals, which was gate automation, electric fencing. Access control was far more limited than it was now.
It was, yeah.
It was a lot of tags with the controllers.
Yes.
It was a bit cumbersome and difficult.
And sometimes the mag stripes as well was in there.
Yes, that's right.
And then Dallas tags.
Yes, 100%. So we decided to look at the gate motor industry, and then we landed up importing a gate motor from Italy.
Yes.
It was too expensive, so we decided, okay, we'll make our own gate motor. And we brought in the gearboxes from France.
Okay.
And got the mold from a company in Joburg for the housing and the plastic. Yes. And the electronics was from a company called SEC in Joburg, which still exists.
Yes.
And they did our design of the controller card, and we manufacture our own motor called Bassi. And the motor, and we used to bring in a fair amount and sell a fair amount of these gate motors. And that was the second wave. So we now had alarms, and then we introduced gate motors.
Okay.
So with the gate motors came the intercoms. And the intercom nowadays is all video, IP, but then it was audio intercoms.
Yes.
So every gate motor had an audio intercom required. So we brought in the Bitron.
Yes.
And the Bitron was a direct competitor to BPT, and then BPT was definitely the champion in the industry for the intercom communication.
Yep.
And that then started what in essence is your access control. Because the gate motor and the intercom is the first step to the access control.
That's correct, yes.
With that, once you had the alarm and you had the gate motor, you needed the electric fencing came. Because once you protect your house, you protect your garden and your perimeter. Your perimeter is electric fencing. So electric fencing was a natural progression from alarms and gate automation. Then the electric fencing came around. Now you had alarms, gate automation, electric fencing, which in essence, the electric fencing and gate automation is access control.
That's correct.
It limits the access to an area.
Yeah, mostly for residential, probably that time.
So the next step was obviously to go to access control. But at that stage, we decided to go into CCTV. Only because at that time, there were some still big players. Then Impro was a large player, quite a complex thing and quite regulated. And so we decided, because the opportunity in CCTV, there wasn't not much CCTV.
Yes.
We decided in 2000 to have a good look at the CCTV market. And what bolstered and really exaggerated that market was 9/11.
Okay.
When the aeroplanes crashed into the Twin Towers in the States. America decided it's now time to invest huge funds of money into CCTV. So what they did is they moved the whole industry from an analog to a digital. The old 24-hour time-lapse recorders were replaced with an analog DVR.
Yes. Okay.
And a capture card that was able to take an image and convert it to a digital format and record it on a hard drive. So that was quite revolutionary at the time. And as a result of us being and already investigating, we were in the forefront of that technology. Okay. But it was primarily driven, the rate at which the technology changed was done primarily because the Americans funded the change after the Twin Towers getting hit by the two airplanes. So that initiated and started and drove that. That drive actually landed up being accelerated from analog to IP. IP, there was a company called Axis, and Bosch.
Yes.
They were all the leaders in IP technology, and they sort of led the market until about 2010.
Yes.
By that stage, a lot of the Chinese manufacturers came in and started simplifying, reducing costs,
of course,
and producing a much cheaper and probably a more unified product.
Yes.
And so, yeah, that was that. And then, well, we had all the verticals. It was time now to look at adding the CCT access control vertical to the whole mix.
Okay.
Yeah.
So that was your last milestone. Do you think there's something else coming after that? Another milestone for security awareness?
Well, we tried solar, and we do have solar for security.
Okay.
We implemented that obviously for obvious reasons. In Africa, we had load shedding. But we decided that solar for security was a very good concept to be able to detach security from the rest of the power sources.
Definitely, yes.
So that security side, access control, alarms, CCTV remains completely intact and does not interfere with the existing power source, be it a solar source, council, etc.
Yeah.
So that was our go-to-market strategy in that field. However, subsequently to that, the solar market has flattened because load shedding has stabilized.
And all the pricing and stuff has dropped to the bottom. And
that's right. And it's a very competitive market, a market that where margins are
but like you say, if it's niche, then going directly like a security or solar, that is still profitable for putting it in spaces where there is really no power, like farm gates, that type of thing.
Correct, 100%. So there's definitely a space for it. We do sell, but it's not a vertical that I think will grow.
Yeah.
So the good question, as you say, is what's next?
What is next, yes.
Yeah. So let's have a look at access control. So access control obviously went through its own evolution.
Of course.
It had a basic keypad, which was access control. It migrated to a tag, which migrated to a swipe, which migrated to biometrics, which migrated to facial recognition.
That's correct.
So there's a whole sequence of events. The controllers, the standalone units, it's now in the cloud. So the development of these technologies are such that I think it's matured.
Yes.
And we agree.
We agree on that, yeah. That is why the market, you see the market stagnating a bit. The growth is not that fast because the innovation is not as fast as what it was when access control started, fingerprint. Because fingerprint was quite slow because you didn't have access to big data. You couldn't just take everybody's fingerprints, but the facial recognition, the curve was much faster because you could draw from public domains. And you can read the faces from there and you can teach your algorithm. So fingerprint was gradual up, and then all of a sudden this facial recognition comes in.
That's right.
Yeah.
So 100%. So facial recognition is now.
Yes.
I think hasn't matured to the level that we think it should.
Not at all.
So the next 3 to 5 years, the development of cloud.
Yes.
And the development of facial is going to really, I think, dominate the access control space. I feel that's where it's going to be. In terms of artificial intelligence, AI, it's obviously a big buzzword at the moment.
It's a big buzzword. It was one of the questions that I wanted to ask you in the quick fire round, but I feel it's at this stage more hype than what there is actually case studies to move on. It's more a hype word to sell. It's the same as what smart city was. Everybody was saying smart city, and there was no real big projects in smart cities. Don't know, maybe in South Africa, internationally, yes, maybe. But South Africa, and I cannot think of one smart city in South Africa where it actually worked, where they said, let's join all the CCTV cameras, all the access control, everything. I think probably the only country in the world that could do that was China. China is doing it. They've got smart cities.
Yes.
And I don't think there's any other country in the world that is coming close to them at this moment. But not yet.
Definitely not yet.
Yeah.
Yes. So where do we use analytics? I think our analytics are going to be used on the bespoke version. You're going to get independent players that are able to develop software, take the existing hardware and the basic analytics that they offer, and combine that. I think that's in the short term the greatest opportunity that we have.
Because that's what we're seeing. I mean, it's the people are selling it as AI, but we know it's just normal analytics we have always had.
We've always had it. Yes.
Maybe it has moved from the server, then it went to the NVR, and now it's at the edge, at the cloud. Now the camera can do all of that analytics itself. I think that is the only movement that went, but there's no, it is almost just an if statement. It is, if you see that, then do this. And I mean, that is not really how I see AI, or what they sell AI as at the end of the day. But
I support your comment 100%. I think I can see that with primarily the CCTV suppliers.
Yes.
They are diversifying their portfolio quite rapidly.
Yeah.
They're moving into alarms, gate automation, access control, trying to capture the full vertical.
Give the full suite, yes.
Yeah, and I think that's simply because the security is that they provide with surveillance has reached. There's not that many new products that they can bring to the market that can inspire and drive and become a talking point.
Yeah.
So then now they're looking at the diversification. In terms of, well, what's left for the South African guy? Well, years ago we used to compare product, and we used to say, well, this camera or this reader can do these 10 things.
Yep.
So we used to compare product.
That's correct.
Now it moved from product to solution. So
Yeah.
you said, look, my readers can work with this monitor, and it's all integrated.
Exactly. Yeah.
So I can give you the right solution. I think going forward, the security industry must look at outcome.
Yeah.
What is the ultimate outcome? What do I want to achieve from my security system, and do I achieve that, and how do I measure it?
Yes.
So now the outcomes get measured. So I think going forward, the idea of doing POCs on product specification, I think is a thing of the past. Solutions work, the products work.
Yeah.
It's now the outcome. Yes. So multiple times you could say, well, I expect this to happen, but it doesn't get measured.
That's correct. Yes.
So the measure of the outcome is going to become an important aspect, and the ability to keep yourself relevant within that space.
Yes.
So as security warehouse and as ZKTeco, we need to keep ourselves relevant in the market.
Exactly, yeah.
Because if we're not relevant in the market, we're going to disappear. So how do we maintain our relevance?
Yeah.
That's what it's about.
That is the main question, because I've seen so many people talking about this AI thing will be the next thing. I don't, at this stage, it's probably for the security industry another 5 to maybe 10 years where we will see real case studies of how it can be used. But also at the end of the day, it gives us an opportunity to be that data providers, data creators. The more data we can create with the technology, the better solutions you can do. You can follow trends of people. I think obviously now we're controlling the people, but in the background you need to see what is the trend that the guy is. He always entering that door. He always goes to that one, but he knows his face is not loaded. What do you do about it? That type of thing. So I think if we put ourselves in a position where we can create as much data as possible, that is where our main focus will be in the next few years, definitely. Yeah.
Correct. I agree with you. So the question is, how do we take that and make it into a viable business?
Yes.
That's an important question.
Exactly.
So if it's going in that direction, we need to sustain an infrastructure. We need to pay salaries for staff.
Definitely, yes.
How do you put gathering the data and selling that data into a business model? That I can't give you the answer to that. I don't know what it is.
Yeah, we don't know.
I think we're going to work and navigate our way through that in the next couple of years. I think that is going to be the challenge for both you and I.
Of course, yeah.
To see how we can actually do this in this industry.
I think what we're also going to see maybe in the next few years is those. I was watching a podcast the other day. I think the podcast name is World of Hard Knocks or something. The guy walks to a rich guy and he says, "Sir, how did you become a millionaire or whatever?" And the one guy was just saying how he's running his company at the moment is he employs so many millennials and new generation because they are getting used to pressing one button to get things done. And he says that is the philosophy he's got into his company now. Why is there not just one button for that to happen? Why is there not just one button for that? And he says the young generation, even though everybody's maybe targeting them as unemployable and they are lazy and this and that. He says it's totally the opposite. And I think that is probably where we will see a lot more of those younger generation coming through and establishing new opposition to the older ones, whereby, yes, you can press one button and you know everything about the company.
Yes.
And that type of thing. So that evolution of the younger people coming in is going to make a big difference.
I agree. And I think the industry needs to adapt to that new thought process. So, and we've seen from the inception of the security in the products,
yes,
the complexity has diminished. They've dumbed down the complexity. The products have all become plug and play,
yes,
or moving towards a plug and play.
Yep.
And in projects where we needed to design quite complex solutions, the ability for the operators and the first level support to continue
yes,
running a complex system is difficult.
Yeah.
The resources are not necessarily easily available, and the continuous training and losing of staff has made those big tier one type projects, and that's not just in South Africa,
No.
but globally, they've
Definitely.
made them uneconomical.
That's correct, yeah.
Hence the integration. You buy a camera. Years ago it was the camera, then your lens, then you had a housing, then a bracket. Now it all comes together.
Yeah.
And you have separate infrared. Now the whole thing comes as a single unit for 500 Rand.
Exactly.
So,
and everybody can talk to everybody now.
And everybody can talk to everyone.
It's not just one provider. No, only my cameras can connect. Now everybody's talking to everybody.
Correct. So the industry is definitely dumbed down.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think it's going to dumb down much more than it is at the moment.
Hopefully not.
Yeah. And I think a lot of it's going to be based on service and the ability for you to understand what is the client's requirements.
Of course.
As somebody getting in as an installer.
Yeah.
In terms of distribution, I can't imagine there's going to be many more distributors. And I think the market is pretty saturated at the moment.
Especially not for South Africa.
Especially not for South Africa.
Yeah. I think maybe you'll see some outliers which will do maybe very well from South Africa into Africa, because everybody is targeting. Africa is the next developing market for all technology, because we are a bit behind the rest of the world. So I've seen a lot of companies investing a lot of money into Africa. And I think because we are a trusted country in Africa, we will probably see a lot of outcome, a lot of the distributors and maybe new entrants to the market that is probably going to take a lot of the African market from this side.
Yes, I agree.
Yeah.
But I don't think there's going to be introduction of too many new brands in the
No, definitely not.
I don't think there's space for more brands. I think it's more going to be a consolidation of distribution companies. Yes. And I think the simple cost of the bricks and mortar and stock required is the entry levels become a bit higher.
Yeah.
So the players that are there, some of them are going to consolidate but move into Africa.
Yes.
I do agree. The African market for us, I think, has picked up.
Yes.
And I don't know if it's because we're perhaps the first point of entry in terms of being Pretoria or Centurion into the access to security equipment versus Joburg, Cape Town, Durban.
Definitely, yeah.
So perhaps our exposure to the African market being in this region has allowed us to capitalize on that more so than, say, Cape Town.
Yeah.
So we have seen a definite uptick in the African market, no doubt about it. Is that where the whole industry and all the focus is going to be? I don't think so. I think that we don't want to get into the economics and politics of the country.
Of course, but it will play a role.
But it will play a role, yeah. So the infrastructure is collapsing, and the people are still there.
Yep.
At some point, the infrastructure has to be rebuilt.
Definitely. Yeah.
Once the infrastructure gets rebuilt,
there
will definitely be an uptick in construction, and a direct result of that would be access control, CCTV, security, etc.
Everything,
Yeah. So when will that happen? I can't tell you, but it's going to happen.
It has to happen. Otherwise, the whole country is going to collapse.
Correct. And nothing collapses ever in its entirety.
No.
There's a resurgence of something, and then the construction rebuilds itself, and they restart building things and things.
You've seen it very well in the Second World War. There was countries that was flattened.
Correct.
And after they just build again. What must you do? Go and lay in the corner and die?
Yes.
Some people had to, unfortunately, but I mean, the country will not die.
Correct.
Yes.
So at the moment, I think, and the security industry is in a bit of a lull. It's a bit flat. there's no major growth points. But I do believe that once the infrastructure costs starts to happen, and this costs, the infrastructure is not the guy putting a little development of 10 houses down the road. This is massive funding from the government and perhaps independent sources to upgrade the railways, the ports, the main roads. This large-scale infrastructure has a tremendous spin-off, and it trickles down to all forms of construction. And we form part of that process.
Definitely, yeah, because they don't want it to happen again, that it goes derelict again and there's no security. Because if they're going to spend money, they will want to spend money on the security side as well.
Exactly. And once the spend comes and the hype starts to go, then it starts to get its own snowball. So for someone coming into the market and saying, well, you're telling me it's flat and there's not many new products coming in, why on earth would I want to get into this market?
Exactly.
Well, I think this is the time, this is the quiet before the storm. I think you get yourself settled, understand your products while things are still calm. And when the uptick happens, it could happen in a year, it could happen in 3 years, we don't know. But when that opportunity presents itself, you're ready for that growth path.
Exactly, yeah.
So, and then I believe a lot of new technologies will start appearing because there's money now being invested in the infrastructure. And with that will come the development of new products. What they will be, I don't know.
We don't know. And I think also this geopolitical thing between US and China is also re-spinning up the US market for people to start innovating again.
That's right.
They want to do everything US, and there's a lot of people, not just the US, that is now starting to develop and innovating for the US market because they're looking for something else.
Exactly.
I don't think China will collapse. They will always be a strong country, and there's still a lot of big markets that they do have. But I think it is not totally a bad thing which is happening between US and China. I think it actually fires on the initiative of the international market to see, listen, there is still space for us to grow as well. We don't have to wait for something to happen in China, a new innovation, then we use it. But we can see a lot of people innovating themselves.
I do agree. I think this is a fantastic idea. I think it creates a resurgence of technology and construction back in the United States, which then says to every country in the world, wait a minute, what is America doing? Why are they rebuilding themselves? Perhaps we should rebuild ourselves. Europe will be the next to start rebuilding, and hopefully South Africa somewhere follow suit. It starts to rebuild itself and starts bringing in new industry for its own uses. So I think it's a good thing.
Yeah. I think also what we will probably see in the near future, and we've already started seeing it, is the niche companies coming into the market, doing something with what is already in there, like middleware and APIs that they build for specific systems, which will then do another solution for the end user. And I think that is probably what we will see in the next 3 to 5 years, a lot of insurgence of these I won't call them middlemen, but middle technology innovators that uses that and actually do different things with it.
That's right. To create a bespoke solution for a specific client.
Exactly.
And they then get the existing technology. I do agree. There's a lot of that where people saying, well, we're not going to reinvent the software. It's already done.
Of course.
What we're going to do is take this software and add our tweak to it to accommodate a specific client. Yes, absolutely. That is definitely a growth point. And a lot of that is considered AI.
Yes, it's considered AI. Yes. But it's just another if statement.
Yeah, it's another if statement.
If the guy really went through that door 5 times today, let's show somebody about it. But yeah, I as the data is getting bigger, and I think AI would have been adopted faster if the smart city did happen, because there is big data in there.
Yes, that's
and
right.
Only AI will be able to see trends inside that big data. But because the smart cities didn't happen, I think AI is ahead of its time now. We will probably see, like I said, 2-3 years ahead, then they will be able to get into the market much faster.
That's right. So obviously driven by the equity market.
Yes.
People create a hype. Lots of money gets thrown into it.
A lot of money.
Shares go up.
Yeah.
They think it's working. They throw more money into it.
Yes.
And they create this tremendous hype. On the ground, how much of it gets used? My experience from a distributor point of view, across the fields, is technology the adaptation of nice to haves is considered AI.
Yes.
The true AI, which helps in production and development,
Yes.
it's an if. It's if
Yeah.
this happens, then do that.
Yeah.
So let's take a gate motor. Gate motor has technology that never had technology before. You could, with your phone, open your
Exactly.
close your gate.
Yeah.
You could program it when you want it to be open and closed. You
Yes.
can program it when you don't want it to open at all. So all of that is considered AI, but actually it's just a development of technology.
Yep.
It's just the progression of that particular product, because the product has to, it can't sit still, it develops.
Exactly. Yeah.
They bring in a new version, a new updated product. They maybe change the cog of the wheel using a different material that lasts longer, whatever the case is. So I see a lot of that happening. That's one thing I've seen. So they consider that AI, and they piggyback on the AI marketing space.
Yes.
That it's AI. But in the true sense of the word, it's not real AI.
Yeah. I think also some of the AI that we do see is in the manufacturing side. There it makes sense, because there they use big data. They've got all of these robots that need to build this amount of cars a day, and you see what do they call it, the black factories, the dark factories in China, where there's no people in there.
Yes.
And it does its own thing. They pops a car out every 2 seconds, and that's happening. In that instance, with the planning of the factory and like they call it, the twins of the robot, you can now train it to do something without it knowing it is doing it. So those twins and digital twins that is created, that is where I see AI is a big use case these days.
Yes, exactly.
But not in the data that we've get.
Yes, I agree.
Yeah.
So guys want to get into this space. They've got to first realize, I think one of the things that is for us important is to be able to continue the input of new people into this industry.
That is the blood. I've spoken to you lots of times about the new blood into this market, because we don't see it that rapidly as what it was 10 years ago.
No.
You don't see, and there's a lot of installers also jumping from security to solar, gets hurt, and they don't have capital to come back into the security market.
Yes.
But that gives everybody a very big opportunity to get into this market.
That's correct.
And that's one of the questions that we have here is, if there is a young person in this market, or that doesn't know what they left school last year, they still don't have a job or whatever, why would you encourage somebody like that coming into our market? What do you think is the main points they need to consider before doing that?
So firstly, I think they need to be technically savvy. This industry evolves, and it's a technological industry. There's a combination of hardware and software.
Yes.
And there's a combination of electronics and networks. So you got to have at least some form of tertiary education that you can use, like an A+ or an N+.
Yes.
It doesn't have to be to the level of MCSE but there needs to be, and perhaps 1 year of a basic technical electronic training. That sort of sets the platform. Once you in that space, then you've got to ask yourself, why would I go into the security industry?
Exactly, yeah.
So if you are a diesel mechanic and you say, well, I'm going into the security industry, it's not going to be a good choice.
It's not going to be a good choice at all.
But if you can start a diesel company, the diesel mechanic company, it's fantastic. There's lots of opportunity there, but don't go into security. If you're going to go into the security, get the fundamental right, which is get your base. Let's assume now you do have this base. And you've got an A+ and N+ a bit of electronics. You can say, well, what are the industries that I can go into with this? Because I have an affinity for it, and it's what I like. So your options are security, of course, the ICT industry, the networking. You can get where you get the a lot of the control instruments that are designed within the robotic space.
Yes.
So the question is, why security? I mean, they can go lots of places.
Exactly, yeah.
My opinion in that security has multiple verticals, and these verticals develop at their own rates.
Yes.
And with a solid foundation in both electronics and IT,
yes,
you can navigate between these different So good. One of the opportunities which turned out to be not such a good opportunity, but what happens is solar comes into the market.
Yep.
You've got a very strong base.
Yep.
The base is both electronic and ICT.
Yes.
And as a result, you're able to get into that space and capitalize on that opportunity quite easily when the opportunity presents itself.
Yes.
But because it's so diverse, there will be opportunity in one of these verticals for you. Mm-hmm. And you can obviously navigate wherever you think is best suited. So from a flexibility point of view, I think it's a good industry.
Yes.
From a longevity, will the industry be around? Of course it's going to be around. There's no question about it. Yeah. In fact, the industry is going to grow.
We spoke about it now. The company the country needs to stand up again.
It needs to
rebuild, and we need to get to where we were.
That's right. And products don't last forever. They have a certain lifespan and a component life, and ultimately they break and they need to be replaced.
Yes.
But security as a whole in South Africa is going to grow. Globally, it is growing. And those with strong, stable, competent police force, government, and security is growing at a rate.
Exactly, yeah.
The chances are that security in South Africa is going to grow at a rate. The integration of a lot of the ICT, the networks, everything's becoming, it's got an IP address, we're running it through networks, allows that integration of both networking and security. In most cases, if a guy in the security industry is capable of understanding the electronics and the networking, he can migrate easily into the ICT space, but the reverse doesn't apply.
Yes.
So when we're looking at getting technical staff in, it is always a challenge for us to get somebody from that inherently comes from an ICT space.
Yep.
Because he only knows half of the technology that is required in the security industry. You're better off getting into the security industry and then migrating into ICT if you wish.
Exactly, yeah.
It's a far wider and diverse portfolio. Yeah. So I think that's one of the reasons. And in terms of growth, will it grow? Yes, it will grow.
So there will always be opportunity in the security.
And there will always be a need for security equipment.
So I like I said, I wanted to go into a rapid round with you with some concepts that we didn't speak about before. One was now AI, but what do you think about mobile credentials in the near future? Do you think it's also a hype? Because, I mean, biometrics are already so strong. Why? Or do you think mobile has got a big play in this market?
Well, that's a very good question. So the proof of the pudding is really in the eating.
Yes.
We've got to put the concept out there.
Yeah.
We've got to see what bites we get without creating a hype.
Yes.
If they're on 0 bites and you create a hype, you're probably not going to grow. Depending on the amount of people that say, put up their hand and say, I'm actually interested in this technology, will determine how much effort we need to put in to get the communication out about what these devices can do and cannot do. So to answer the question, is there an opportunity? Yes, but we don't know. We don't know how long that and how much of a willing buyer there is out there. And
do you think that is what maybe the new modality? Do you think maybe your personal mobile phone might be the new modality for, also obviously mixing, you can do your biometrics and everything from the phone these days with a few technologies, but do you think maybe mobile is the new modality instead of a device on the wall?
Yes, of course. So that's a very interesting one. I can speak for myself, but I'm old generation.
That's what I'm saying. Yes.
But I'm old generation.
I don't have all the answers for this. That's why I'm asking.
Yeah, so it's a good point. So I happen to have a Garmin watch.
Exactly.
Yeah, there we see it's got a display. All the stories are coming through.
And you can pay with it.
I can pay and I can speak and it's all wonderful stuff. However, I get tired of it. I actually want to put it away.
Yep.
Because I feel like I'm married to my watch, which is crazy.
Yes.
So I personally don't have a liking to have everything in one box.
Okay.
Will the rest of the population? Well, that's the new generation that comes.
The one button.
The one button. Exactly. This is the one button.
Yeah.
So will this be the future? I don't know. You'd have to bring it out there. Then there's the cost factor. How much does it cost?
Yeah.
Right. The other problem is, so security should be isolated. CCTV stands for closed circuit television.
That's
it's no
correct,
longer
yes.
closed.
No,
it's completely open.
not closed for a long time.
It's not closed. In fact, alarm systems work on a normally closed.
Yep.
When the circuit opens, it triggers the alarm.
Exactly.
But that doesn't exist anymore because it's all wireless.
Yep.
And it's all networked. So the risk around security is that you have one device. You lose the device, you have no security.
Yeah.
That's your biggest risk.
Yes.
Will it go there? I don't know. I haven't seen anything with CCTV on your watch. Or
Not yet.
But the phones are all CCTV'd.
Yes.
But most people that observe still do it through a laptop.
Definitely,
and want to investigate a situation, never do it through their phone.
Yeah.
They always do it via a laptop or a PC, which is a standalone
because it
device.
takes a long time to go through the... Yes, it makes it easier these days with all the analytics. It will tell you guy with the red shirt and that guy with the... You can just search now, but you still have to go through the footage, and doing it via mobile is not a good idea.
Then you need the redundancy.
Yes.
So now he loses his phone, watch, whatever it is. Now you need someone on standby that is able to facilitate the redundancy, be it a card, a tag, a fingerprint, face recognition. So now redundancy starts to become a big issue.
Yes.
So is it going to go in that direction? I don't know. The battery goes flat.
Yes.
You can't get in. There's a few issues. So the cost of running a system with its redundancy is going to be more than if you were just to have the original system. So will it go there? I think in certain projects, absolutely.
In certain projects, yes.
I'm not so sure if it's going to be on a mass.
Yes.
I don't know. I'm not sure. I think, do we need to do it? Absolutely.
Yes.
We do need to go in that space. The technology, and I think already the Chinese and the Americans have already focused
Of course.
their energies on that.
Yeah.
Whether it will really sell on the ground level, I'm not so sure.
The other rapid question will be, what do you think are you how can I say this? With cybersecurity, do you think the access control and camera markets are a big problem with cybersecurity?
No, I don't think so. I don't think so. So cybersecurity primarily makes the money from freezing a business critical device that it's your server and it runs your accounting package and it's got all the necessary data or your operational setup for robotics to be able to continue. There's a price that you're prepared to pay to recover your data so that you can continue production.
Of course.
When it comes to access control and CCTV, they lose that data in any case.
Yes.
So a week down the line, they don't need that data.
Yeah.
So if they were to be attacked with cybersecurity, I think there's going to be very few people that will be prepared to pay for data which was lost.
No, of course. If you don't really need it, like a finance system or something like that, that's different.
Time and attendance could be at risk.
Maybe. But I mean, if you think about it, people using access control and the security type of products to get in to buildings and stuff, do you think people need to worry about that? Or is it also a hype again?
I think you need to offset what does it cost for you to have your doors open and somebody monitoring the door versus paying a ransom to somebody who's hacked your system. I think that's really what it is. It's a money thing. Most people, in my opinion, would keep the door open and have somebody there just checking it.
Of course, yes.
To sort of put a manual person in place. Time attendance, on the other hand, that's a different story. That could be a bit tricky. But generally, there's backups for that kind of stuff. I don't think it's the main issue. I know we do have one product, a product from Israel called Provision.
Yes.
Now, Provision has a thing called Checkpoint. Checkpoint is basic security for cyber attacks, getting into stopping people going into that IP address so that they can view. And so that is the opposition to. So some Chinese products were banned from America because it was perceived that they would.
It's a perception. Yes.
That they were gathering data via their NVRs, DVRs, etc. Of course, it was a perception. What are they going to do with all this data?
Yeah,
it's immaterial, but the perception is that they were going in and now Provision came up with Checkpoint Security, which stopped people going in, accessing to it. Our experience, from a selling perspective, having a product with and without, from a selling perspective, and that's to the highest corporate level, is not a criteria for decision. The ultimate decision to say we're going with the product or not does not rest on whether it has cybersecurity or not. So that has become, that even in the corporate space, is not the make or break of the deal. Do they go ahead with product A or product B? So I don't think cybersecurity and checking and putting control measures in place for cybersecurity has a great effect on the final decision of whether they go ahead with a project or not.
Yeah, well, why I went with this specific question is because I see a lot of end users running penetration tests, that type of thing these days on access control, on cameras, obviously then the software, everything, the whole solution they're checking with that. And we've had a very big resurgence on that penetration test and stuff from a lot of end users in South Africa, which I think again is around the hype of a perceived type of security risk. But at the end of the day, there's not much you can do with a camera or with an access control unit. If it is totally open and you can penetrate the network from there, yes, that is a problem. And I think that is probably where most of the issues come from, with the perception of some of the people being open.
That's right. I think it'll become a risk when it becomes financially viable for them to do so.
Yes.
So if I can tap into an access control system, take the information and sell that information, Poppy Act or no Poppy Act, I gather the information and I sell it to somebody else. If somebody's prepared to pay for it, then I'm going to hack more. If no one's prepared to pay for it, then I'm not going to do the hacking, because what am I doing the hacking for?
Exactly,
what's the point of getting all your database if I can do nothing with it? So the question is, how sellable is it?
Exactly.
And that will determine whether you need the cybersecurity and access control or not. I think it's a hype, and I think, yes, in certain situations, certain, call it military / sensitive, government sensitive, or corporate sensitive, perhaps they will encourage that.
That's different.
But I do think it's a small percentage, perhaps 5% if that, will focus on cybersecurity and having and implementing things that they need to do. Otherwise, it's purely about the money. Can they make more money elsewhere?
Yeah.
Can they even get any money from the video that they've now extracted? So they break into an area, and see people walking around. Who wants that data?
Yes. The last one is coming back to AI. Do you think there is a big security risk with AI being used to create videos and stuff that we see these days?
Yes, I think so the problem that we have with the creation of video is that the credibility of the real video is questioned.
Yes.
So ultimately the whole thing gets thrown out of court. Already having CCTV evidence in court is a problem. With AI in the picture, you wouldn't even be able to present it as even a point of discussion. So the credibility of surveillance footage is a problem.
Yes.
And that is coming without a doubt.
Yeah, because I see that is now the big thing on all social media, everything. Everybody's worried about the AIs and people being able to take their faces, put it on other people's bodies and that type of thing. And I think we will probably start having questions in the security market about that as well. If you can make it credible to make it look like a camera, that type of thing.
So AI, the generation of people in an environment using AI is scary.
It is.
I've seen recreations of areas. My daughter thought it was quite funny to send me a picture of her sitting on the lounge with a new boyfriend, and he has topless on the couch.
And there we go.
She's 15 years old. She says, "Look, Dad, I've got a new boyfriend."
Oh my soul!
Meanwhile, it's AI-generated guy that beats.
You're halfway down the street already, and then she says, "No."
Shotguns out.
Yeah.
So I thought that was very interesting. I said, "Wow, it's incredible." When I saw the picture, I knew she was joking. She wasn't going to send me that, but I thought I could never see the difference. So the sheer fact that you're able to do that and do it so seamlessly is scary.
With a few prompts.
Yeah.
If a 15-year-old girl can do something like that already.
Yeah.
I mean, 2 years ago, we were all laughing about you have got like 7 fingers if an AI have to build you, and you've got 5 ears and whatever. And these days, it's almost seamless. We're coming back to seamless again.
Yes. So, seamless. Exactly. So is it a threat? It's definitely a threat for surveillance in terms of its credibility. So surveillance would have to do something. They would need to have some kind of watermark, I don't know,
I think we have to get
encrypted
back
thing.
there, yes.
And that may become more so than cybersecurity. I think it's more the bastardization of the images
Yes.
rather than cybersecurity. I feel that's definitely a direction to go.
Of course.
Getting credibility of your footage.
Yeah. Last question, a bit more personal.
Sure.
Not personal, but more your thoughts on life is, if we have a 20-year-old watching this podcast now, from your life experience, what is the main points that you would like to give them as a go-to how to get through life? You've had so much experience all over the world, and you've got the experience in the civil engineering and your day-to-day life and that type of thing. What would you say to a 20-year-old today? How must they take on life?
That's a very good question. So first, I think there's three things I think that are very important. I think for any person, and 20-year-olds specifically, they need to understand that they need some form of a skill. So they need to get a tertiary education.
Yes.
Of some sort.
So you think book smarts is better than street smarts?
So whether
in a way.
Yes. I think you can become street smart, but you need to be book smart first. You need to know what amps and ohms and resistance and whatever these things are and how they come together and what the formulas are. You've got to have that indication. You also got to be able to go through a training exercise that you can show that you can complete something. You can start something, you can progress, and you complete. The completion of a project is very important. So you need to take this thing and you need to develop a skill. Because without a skill, you are selling nothing. You need to learn to take that skill, embrace that skill. So you need to take ownership of that, whatever it is that you do. And you need to be present in that environment. So don't go and do electronics and wishing you were doing a construction site, building a house. Then
make sure you go for your passion first.
Yes. So if you've got to be present in that environment. Don't leave and think, well, I'm here between 8 and 5, and then at 8 o'clock or 6 o'clock in the evening, I'm now going to start my construction company. It doesn't work. You need to be present in the environment. It's very important. And then you need to take accountability for what you do. So these are very important things. The accountability. If something goes wrong, you need to put up your hand and sort it out.
Exactly, yeah.
Take ownership of that and sort out the problem that comes your way. And also, it takes time. So every overnight success takes time. People say, wow, he suddenly became very successful. That very successful is 10,000 hours.
Exactly.
Minimum.
Yeah.
So
of being present.
Of being present and taking ownership of your environment.
Yeah.
It's very important that. Now, the other thing is, the world of instant gratification has been pounced upon us for years now. People think, well, I've now done my studies and I'm now going to start working. I should immediately earn these very high salaries.
Yes.
It doesn't work that way.
No,
it takes a long time, and they need to have patience and perseverance. They need to work hard and focus. And only eventually will the money follow you.
Yeah.
So, but people the young people nowadays, I think, ultimately correct themselves in the beginning because they're very protected, they're very cocooned. And I think once they start working, by the time they get to 25, they realize life isn't a one-button process.
Definitely not,
That changed, but
Exactly, yeah. Well, on those wise words, we will stop today's podcast. I would like to thank Pasco for his time and his effort, and also his ongoing support for our brand, and obviously our support for you guys as well. But thank you very much for your time.
Thank you very much, Hendrik, for having me here and allowing me to speak my mind. And I do believe that ZK is going to definitely embrace the future going forward. I think there are still lots of prospects and opportunities that will present themselves as time goes by. But thank you very much.
Perfect. Thank you very much, everybody, for spending some time with us again. This one was a bit longer than the previous one, but we will keep on going. We will see you next time. Thank you.